If you're looking to improve your wig installing skills, then I have the video just for you. Stay tuned because this tutorial is very, very, very in-depth and I think you'll love it. So here I have my 24-inch straight, 180% density, 13x4 transparent lace, and my vendor also gave me a wig cap. The hair color is a 1B, and this is what it looks like outside of the pack. She is not plucked, bleached, or nothing. She is fresh. This is the lace. Like I said again, this is a 13x4. It comes with a band, comes with the adjustable straps, as well as clips to make sure that it's not moving. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and bleach my knots. So I'm going to use 30 developer and I'm going to use some bleach. Now, bleaching is not as hard as you think. A lot of people feel like where they go wrong with bleaching the knots is they either overdo it, underdo it, or it doesn't do it at all. But that also factors into a lot of things, but I want to make sure that we're staying focused on this specific topic. So I'm going to remove the band that's in there, and then I'm going to fluff out the hair because since the hair was in the bag, it's a little matted to the lace, and I don't want to bleach the strands of hair, just the knots. So I'm actually going to take my bleach and I'm going to take a spoon, and to make the bleaching the knots explanation simple, we're just going to do it in equal parts. So we're going to do 4 parts bleach and we're going to do 4 parts developer. Now this helps because I've heard people try to explain it and say, oh, make sure it's pasty or make sure it has a drip but not too much drip. To eliminate all confusion, I just simply use equal parts. So no matter how much you use, depending on how big your lace is, if you have a full 360 frontal, if you have a 13x4, 5x5, just make sure you have enough to cover that entire lace. But do it in equal parts just so you're not trying to figure out the consistency. This just helps you remember it. So we're just going to mix everything together, and literally when it comes to bleaching the knots, wherever the knots start on the lace, you want to cover that and then coat the rest of the lace. Now you don't have to do on the outer edges, obviously, where there's no hair. We're not worried about that. Just wherever that hairline starts, start there and work your way into the lace. Now that I have the bleach on the lace, I'm actually going to give you guys a close-up so I can further explain this next part. So as I coated the whole lace now, what we're going to do is we're going to leave it on for about 7 minutes, and depending on the strength of the developer, you may not even have to do that in its entirety. You may have to do less or more. So if you have a 40, less. If you have 10, 20, a little bit longer. But as you can see, the actual knots are starting to change color. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's like a golden undertone now, slightly bronze on the actual lace itself where the knots are, and that's what you want to see. That's how you know that you are bleaching your knots. And once again, closer up so you can see some of that hair in the front is starting to turn that golden color. This is what's going to help you melt your hair once you put it in as well. So just pay attention to that. So if you don't have a timer, if you're not sure how long to put it on, just make sure that you're not over processing your hair. You want it to look like this golden bronzy color, depending on your skin tone too. I've heard some people leave it on for longer if they're more lighter skin tone, less time if they're more darker. Me, I just like to give myself a time frame. I do 7 minutes just to ensure that the hairline itself is completely bleached and has this golden undertone, similar to my skin tone. Now for the part that a lot of people tell me they have issues with. So because I'm doing a middle part, I went ahead and I parted the hair down the middle, and I am sleeking the side back that I'm going to go into first with plucking, and then I smooth down the other side just to a completely different direction so I don't have trouble differentiating the sections or zones that I'm plucking in. So I'm going to take about 1 inch worth of that front part of the hairline, and I'm going to separate it because now it is time to start plucking the back of the hairline. This helps create more of a natural look, and the method that I actually like to use too with doing so is called the fork method, which I will get to once I show you a different perspective. So like I said, I'm taking about 1 inch worth of that hairline out the way so that way we can start plucking. So now this is the fork method. So it's literally from where I did my part, I skipped a piece of hair, then I plucked. Then I'm skipping hair, then I'm plucking. So literally it's a skip, pluck method, which is also called the fork method. And I'm doing this just so I can start creating a more toned down hairline, a more realistic and less thick of a hairline. Now, some people don't like to do this. However, I find it easier this way because once I comb that hair back, you'll start to see the hairline transition. But this is the skip pluck method, and you're going to do this all the way down to where your ear tabs is on the wig. Another thing with doing this, you always want to keep your comb and your hot comb with you because you want to make sure that you're plucking in the right direction. You don't want your hairline to start slanting or start going in funny motions. So always when you're plucking, make sure you have that comb it back so you can have a clear view. Also, I am plucking the hair while it is wet. Some people like to do it dry. I sometimes like to do it, honestly, it just, whatever the hair is in that moment is what I go into. I don't really have specifics that I recommend. But this is the skip pluck method. And then what I'm doing now is I'm really just going in and I'm cleaning up those spaces that I have plucked because I don't want any extra hair in those. I want those to be defined. And with your tweezers, make sure that the pointed end is facing towards you, depending on where you're standing. So I'm standing in the front of my mannequin head and I'm plucking backwards. Some people like to stand behind the head and pluck towards themselves. I like to pluck away from myself. I just find it easier. So now I'm combing that hair back and I'm going to take my hot comb and I'm going to lay it down because I don't want any flyaways. Also, I'm taking my wax stick just to help with the flyaways as well. And I'm laying everything back so I have a clear view of that hairline and what else I need to pluck. Now, after I do this, I don't go into the gaps that I've plucked. I actually just kind of do a random plucking method. And I say the word random because that's literally what it is. We're just going to jump around that hairline and just start thinning out the front of the hair, which you'll see in a moment. Also, I made sure to slow down a lot of this video because I noticed that a lot of my tutorials are either majority tutorials on YouTube. We tend to speed through things and some people like things to be slowed down so they can really catch, you know, the idea of what to do. So this is why some of the parts are actually slowed down because I really want you guys to see the hairline, the methods and everything so that way you don't feel like anything got skimmed over or it went too fast. I want to make sure that you're getting everything that you need. Now, this is the part that I said where I'm kind of just plucking all over. I'm not going in any specific pattern or anything. I'm literally just going up and down the hairline and I am plucking. And this is just to start thinning out the front of that hairline so it's not too thick. Now, this is the part where I get a little bit more tedious. So those gaps that you saw me pluck when we removed about an inch worth of the front part of that hairline, now I'm going into those gaps and I'm actually defining them again to make sure that they're more present for this hairline. And that way we're getting that nice, fluid and beautiful hairline. Once again, I am plucking away. I'm standing in front of my mannequin, so I am plucking away. And like I said, I'm going into those gaps. And I am cleaning it up so that way we have that nice hairline. Also too, it does help if you have like a white or a lighter washcloth or something or towel underneath just so you can see what you're doing. Because sometimes these mannequin heads, or at least for me, because I do everything on them as far as coloring, sometimes I can't see past the coloring. So I like to use a cloth that's lighter so that way I can see what I'm doing. Now that this side of the hair is done, you can do the same exact method to the other side. So we're going to move into the next step. So I wanted a widow's peak, and I actually had to watch a tutorial on this because I did not know how to do this myself. But what I wanted to explain to you guys was how I did it. So what I'm doing closest to my part, my middle part, I'm going to create like a lowercase c, and I'm just going to make sure everything is in its place where I want it to be. Make sure there's no extra hairs being pulled from the hairline, making sure that there's enough hair pulled from the hairline so that you can see that there's a difference from the peak versus the rest of the hair. So once I do that, they did say that it is a lot easier to just pull the strands. Some people pluck it. I did pull. I realized in this moment that instead of trying to pull all at once, just take it section by section and small sections at that, and pull the knots because they'll literally just slide out. Be gentle. Don't try to rip it upwards. Like firmly, I feel like SpongeBob, firmly grasp it and slide down as you're tugging. And the knots will literally just come out. And once again, I say do that in sections. It makes it a lot easier and a lot cleaner, and you'll be less scared of ripping your lace in doing so. I'm going to show you guys again on the other side just so that I'm reiterating again how I did this method. And once the camera goes back in focus, you'll see exactly the differentiation on the widow's peak. So this is just the extra hairs. You can take some tweezers, which I believe I did, and I just started plucking those out the way. I didn't feel the need to pull those any further because I was scared I was going to tear my lace. So now that I have that side done, we are going to take that hot comb. This hot comb is your best friend. Whenever you're laying a wig, you should always have a comb and a hot comb and press that hair down. So here's a different perspective. Again, we're going to go closest to that middle part. We're going to create a lowercase c, and I am going to make sure I don't have too much or too little hair in the hair that I intend on taking out. And once again, I say it helps a lot if you have that hot comb because it helps push the extra hair out the way. It just gives you a clear view of what needs to be taken out or done with the hair. And again, work in sections when you're doing this part. Don't try to pull it all at once because you will more than likely rip your lace. Just take it small section by section and tug at the hair in a downward motion, and the knots will literally slide right out. Now that I have my hair nice and pressed, I'm just going through to make sure if I need to pluck any more, if I need to remove some more hair near the widow's peak just so it's not too thick, because you don't want a thick widow's peak unless you do. I don't. I want something that's not thin, not thick, like, you know, just right or whatever. But I just want to make sure that I have enough hair in that widow's peak that really defines the hair. And to me, one side was a little thick, so I just went with my tweezers and I'm plucking, not in the front, but behind it. Whenever you're doing anything like this to prevent balding as well, pluck behind the hairline after you've already plucked again, because the majority of the time, the hairline behind it is still a little thick and you just want to thin it out some.
no matter the climate. Birthday bitches in my third trimester. Shift eyes, they tell me you lying. Don't care, just lay him beside me. Hey time, chasing a rewind. Hey time, I need more space and security. I need less voices, just you and me. I need your touch, not just scrutiny. Squeezing too tight, boy, you lose me. Boy, you lose.
And this is her after we've plucked and everything. To me, she looks perfect. I love the way she looks. So I'm gonna go and we're gonna start prepping to color this hair.
You better learn how to face this. She's gone, gone girl. She's gone girl. Never replace this. She's gone, gone girl. Gone girl. You better learn how to.
So now to color the hair, I'm going to go in with the Dark and Lovely Fade Resist Rich Conditioning Hair Color. This comes with Fade Resist Cream Developer. It also comes with the Hazelnut Brown Hair Coloring and a nourishing hair conditioner for after you rinse your color and everything out. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put everything in a bowl. You can leave it in the bottles itself. However, I wanted to make sure I had enough because the box did say depending on your hair length, you might need 3 boxes. I only actually needed 2, which was kind of a good thing because I didn't really want to run back out to the store. But I am going to mix everything here in this bowl.
Straightforward eyes on the climate. I decide no matter the climate. Birthday bitches in my third trimester.
To ensure that I wasn't using too much product too, I made sure that I sectioned off the hair in 4 sections, and I just started at the back. And because this hair obviously is not on any heat as of like a human head, you can start at the roots, you can start at the end, you can start in the middle of the hair, it doesn't matter. I just wanted to start at the ends and I worked my way up, and then I massaged the hair color in. But like I said, I also did this just to ensure that I wasn't overusing any product and wasn't left with anything. I wanted to make sure I had more than enough to put through all of the hair.
You better learn how to face this. She's gone, gone girl. She's gone girl. Never replace this. She's gone, gone girl. Gone girl. You better learn how to face this. She's gone, gone girl. She's gone girl. Can't think it's too hard to process. Get around you and I regress. I decide what demons I digest.
So this is the hair fully saturated. I had way more than enough. I made sure that I used the coloring brush that you guys saw me use to mix the products together, and I really worked this into the hair and made sure that it was completely saturated. Now the box says leave on for 20 minutes, but because this hair is dark and I wanted to ensure maximum color, I left it on for about 30 minutes before I washed everything out. After washing the hair and using the nourishing conditioner that you're supposed to leave on for about 3 to 5 minutes, I'm going in with the Garnier Fructis Sleek and Shine, and I'm going to run that through the damp hair before I start blow drying. I wanted to do this to reduce frizz because I saw that the last time I blow dried my hair, obviously without an oil or moisturizing to it was very, very poofy, and I didn't want that again. I wanted to minimize how much work had to be done with this hair. So now I'm going in with my paddle brush and my blow dryer set to the highest setting that it can, and I am blow drying it. Now moving on to the actual wig application portion, I'm removing that extra lace at the end. I am putting that band back in that you saw me take out in the beginning when we were bleaching the knots. I'm going to color the lace with some concealer that's actually my skin tone, just because I wanted to alleviate that glowing hairline or extremely dark hairline. And I am putting that all over the front part of the lace, and make sure you go far out enough so that you're covering it, and we're going to cover the entire lace itself. Once we got that on, now what we're going to do is we're going to put this wig on. I did put the ball cap on just because I did not want those combs snagging at my hair. I'm trying to show my actual hair more TLC. Normally I just throw it on and go, and then I realized it was tugging at my hair, and those combs can cause bald spots, so be sure that you are putting on a wig cap. You don't have to do the ball cap method, but just put on the wig cap to protect your hair from the combs. And now what I'm doing is I'm just eyeballing to see where I want my hairline to fall. I don't want it laying on my actual hairline, obviously, because we don't want that glue to start pulling at our edges. We want to keep our edges, so make sure you put it away from your actual hairline. Also too, because I don't think I showed you guys in this, which if you watch any of my wig install videos, be sure to always use a skin protectant before you put on glue. But what I'm doing here is I'm cutting out the ear tabs, which a lot of people say they have issues with. Honestly, when you put the wig on and it covers your ears, just take that comb and trace out your ear, and then take those scissors. And what I do is I cut upwards, like towards where my ear is, and then I kind of gently tear the lace or split the lace over my ear, because then I want to make sure that it fits comfortably over my ear, because I don't know if anybody has ever tried to put on a wig and your ear tabs weren't cut enough and it was just digging into the back of your ear. It's super uncomfortable. So I like to do this and make sure it's split enough so that way my ears aren't hurting, but I don't cut too much off to where they're not covering anything. And this is the method that helps me the most. I know cutting the ear tab seems the hardest because you can cut into the hair, but this is why I say take that comb, part around your ear, and once you part around your ear, take those scissors and follow that part and cut around your ear, just to make life so much easier. Now also what I'm doing here is I'm cutting tabs into the lace so that way I can pull the hairline where it needs to be, rather than just pulling all of it at once and trying to put it somewhere. No, just cut tabs and work in sections when it comes to laying this hairline down. I am going to reiterate again because, like I said, I don't believe that I showed you guys, but please use a skin protectant. I use the Bold Hold skin protectant spray on my forehead where I'm going to lay the glue down at, just because you don't want your skin to start breaking out or get raw because of the glue, because this is a chemical. And if you're going to be using other alcohols like lace melting sprays or Got2b glue, please use a skin protectant. But I'm going to go in with the Bold Hold lace glue, and I'm only going to do 2 layers. And another tip for when you're laying your lace, some people do it the other way where they just put the glue on and immediately put the hair on. I don't like that. To me, that's messy. You're not giving the time for the glue to actually work, sliding, so many things. So what I like to do is I like to take the tail end of my eyebrow razor, or you could take your rat tail comb, you could take popsicle sticks, anything that's flat, because you want to make sure that there's an even coverage and it's smooth, because you want everything to dry at the same time. But we're going to take that, like I said, away from your actual hairline and start laying that glue down, and we're going to smooth it out, and you're going to wait till it goes clear. Wait till it dries clear, because this is when it's most tackiest, and this is when it'll be easier to lay that lace. Because if you try to do it while it's still white and you are trying to put the lace down in there, you'll get mad and get frustrated, because like, oh, why is my wig sliding back? Why is it not just sticking in place when you're trying to move to the other side? Make sure that your lace glue is clear before you lay that lace into it. Like I said, I'm only doing 2 layers because I am going to go into a spray that's going to also reinforce this lace laying down. But just to run down everything again, use a skin protectant, then use a skin protectant, and use a skin protectant, but then use your glue, smooth it out, wait till it dries clear, then lay your lace. And then you want to take your comb and you want to make sure you're pressing that lace into that glue. Also with the hairline, wherever your hairline starts on that wig, the furthermost part of the glue, make sure you're laying it that way. Don't lay it behind a little bit and leave some extra lace, unless it's really necessary, like if you plan on doing baby hairs. But for the most part, honestly, just lay that lace exactly where that glue stops. And you're going to take that comb and you're really going to press those teeth in, and you're going to comb it back so that way that hair and that lace is laying down in that glue.
are the process. Get around you and I regress. I decide what demons I digest. I'm just tired of repeating my digress. Trying to find deeper meaning in nonsense. Trying to grow without hating the process. Tired of anticipating the worst yet. Still anticipating the worst. I need more space in the company. I need less voices to help me.
Now we're going to put this band on. I know some people like to leave their band on for hours on end. Me personally, because the glue is already dried down enough for it to adhere, and like I said, I'm going in with the reinforcement. Honestly, I like to just tie the band to make sure it's really, really tight, and then I just go into styling. And however long styling takes, then that's just how long I leave that band on, just to make sure that it's on long enough and that it's really helping this lace melt. So I'm going in with my wax stick and I'm going to part the hair because I do want the hair to be flat. Some people don't like this method anymore because they feel like, you know, your natural hair isn't flat like that. So why would you want your wig to be? Even though I don't really hear that too much because sis, we want this wig flat. I know when I have a nice silky press, we want that hair laid down. So that's why I'm taking this wax stick and I am parting it through the hair. So that way when I take that hot comb, it could just run straight through and make this hair nice and flat. Also, I am combing back the hairline as well, just so I can make sure that no extra plucking is needed. But however, I am here to tell you that extra plucking will be needed once you put it on, because though you plucked it on the mannequin head, once you put it on yours, it'll look a little different, and you want to make sure that you're plucking it to fit your actual shape of your face, your hairline, as close as possible. I know you're probably like, well, then what was the point of plucking in the beginning? Because that sets the base. That makes it a lot easier rather than just throwing on a wig that's unplucked on your head and you're kind of just like, I don't have a guide. So doing this really helps. So I sectioned off some more part of that hair, and now I'm plucking behind the hairline to make sure that since it's on my head now, the hairline makes sense. And I'm not going in any particular motion. Once again, we are jumping all over the place. I am thinning it out so that way when I comb that hair I section off back, I go in there and I pluck that as well to make sure that this hairline matches my face shape.
Straightforward eyes on the climbing. I decide no matter the climate. Birthday bitches in my third trimester. Shift eyes, they tell me you lying. Don't care, just lay them beside me. Hey time, chasing a rewind. Hey time, I need more space and security. I need less voices, just you and me. I need your touch, not just scrutiny. Squeezing too tight, boy, you lose me. Boy, you lose. You better learn how to face it. She's gone, gone girl. She's gone girl. Never replaces. She's gone, gone girl. Gone girl. You better learn how to face it. She's gone, gone girl. She's gone girl. Can't think it's true at the process. Get around you and I regress. I decide what demons I digest. I'm just tired of repeating my digress. Trying to find deeper meaning in nonsense. Trying to grow without hating the process. Tired of anticipating the worst yet. Still anticipating the worst. I need more space in the
Now it is time to cut this lace. So I typically use an eyebrow razor. You can still do that, but I find it a lot easier to just go ahead and use scissors. I could not find my eyebrow scissors, so I'm using my shears. But if you cut in a zigzag motion, it does help melt your lace a lot better. That is one thing that in the wig laying community, they all say the same thing. Those jagged looking edges make the blend more seamless rather than just doing round and making your face look round, because then it just looks like you're wearing a wig. So you're going to get as close as possible to that hairline without cutting into it, and you're really just going to go in a zigzag motion. It's not like a crocodile teeth thing. Now I have seen some people just go to an art and craft store and get those like crocodile teeth looking scissors and just use that. I mean, you can if you want to. I don't want to. I just feel like I'm gonna follow whatever way this glue laid makes it more of a natural fall, and that's what I'm gonna do. Now that we got this extra lace off, I'm going to go into my foundation brush that I use to tint the lace, and I'm going to use whatever's left on that, and I'm just going to press that into the hairline as well to make more of a seamless blend. Then I'm going to go into the Style Fixture by Red by Kiss, and this is the ultimate hold one, and I'm not going to spray it directly on the hair because it can make your hair hard and crunchy. You don't want that. I'm spraying it on the back of my hair, and I'm taking my finger and I'm dabbing it onto the lace just to further melt it and really lay that in there. And then this stuff dries super fast. So you can either just let it be, or you can help reinforce it with your blow dryer, which is what I'm going to do. And I do it on the cool setting because your girl gets hot flashes, and using heat to me makes me sweat. I don't want to sweat. That's going to make the glue lift. Don't need that. Even though it is reinforced to the gods and it shouldn't lift, but I just want to ensure that it doesn't. So I am going to use a cool setting. Now we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Oh, I did not tell you guys this part in the beginning of the video, but I did pluck my part because when I go to put makeup in it, I don't like seeing extra knots or hair in it because that just makes the part look crazy. So I did pluck my part to make it more clean before I went in with makeup, and obviously now I put the makeup in the part so we can cover up that wig cap. I'm going to take my sewing thread and I'm going to take some dark brown hairspray and I'm going to define my part, and I did get a little bit of black or dark brown spray on me, and I just cleaned it up and went back in with some more makeup. But this is the install, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. Do not leave off of my video just yet because I did curl this hair, and if you're interested to see how I did that, be sure to go check out that styling video right now, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.